What's up? It's Keith. I just pulled myself out of bed to make this video. I have these visions. No, I really have these deep insights to where I pull myself out of bed at 1, 2, 3 a.m. and I'm like, dude, I've got to make a video about this. This video is called Crossing the Rubicon. What does crossing the Rubicon mean? It means you have crossed the point of no return. The point of no return. You can't go back now. You've made that decision, you've signed your name, you've made the verbal agreement. It doesn't matter what it is. But now you have to go out and execute and make it through that valley and back up to the other side. The craziest thing happens though when you cross the Rubicon, whether it be a job in your business or an agreement with someone, you know what I mean. When you cross the Rubicon, it's like you're now lined up in the crosshairs, and whatever it is, it takes a shot at you. It blows and discharges off a round when you're in the crosshairs. It shoots the crossbow at you and puts you up against the wall. That's a phenomenal thing about being in anything and being a human, is that it'll take you and put you up against the wall with a knife to your throat and put you in a pinch. But that pinch didn't exist before you crossed the Rubicon. It's like you're walking a tightrope over alligators. You ever see that dude a couple years ago? He was walking that tightrope across like Grand Canyon or like New York City, that famous dude, you know what I'm talking about, and it was all over the news and TV. Well, imagine instead of below him, it's the city. Imagine it's a pit of swirling black clouds and demons. Or just your deepest fear is now you're walking that tightrope over fire. Whoa. Can you feel it? And it's scary as shit. And imagine your family and all the people that are counting on you are on your shoulders while you're crossing that Rubicon. And if you even trip up one bit, it's all on you when it's over, and your deepest fears will become true. Well, this is the way the universe works. And every moment you're either opening or you're closing. You're opening or you're closing. To close is to contract. To close down in fear or anxiety, or to tremble or to submit. Every time you close, you instantly begin the downward nosedive into the pit of your deepest fears. You're closing up and you can't help it. It's so hard to just open and surrender to all that is, and be part of all that is, and become one with all that is, and free fall into infinity with all that is. And the only way is to open up and spread your wings and fly like an eagle amongst the pain, amongst the storm, and let the storm be the pressure that lifts you and keeps you flying, so you can be that support system, so you can be that emptiness that contains the universe. But when you cross the Rubicon again, which is constantly, and I want to get somewhere with this, you close your wings and close down. Imagine you're in the sky and you close your wings and you contract, and now you start the pitfall into your deepest fears again. And you must force yourself to open them. Right? And fly. It's craziness. And it's all relative. It's all completely relative. I've been watching Elliot Hulse lately. This dude's awesome. He said something I just thought of when I took a breath. He says, as a man talking to guys here, he says, breathe into your balls. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It sounds kind of weird, right? And I'm like, that makes sense. There's a different way to reach that Zen mode, or that contemplative state. And you could hit it from many different ways. And one is to plant your feet firmly on the ground and to go right there. That right there is opening your wings. It's getting out of beta state consciousness and into alpha. Complete present moment awareness and observation. And only from observation and detachment can you make any significant progress. Because through attachment and being subjective to your fears and all those things, you trigger, like I always talk about the parasympathetic, you trigger the response mechanisms, and then you become a victim to circumstance, to surroundings. Your heart rate elevates, your palms get sweaty, you can't think, you become unresourceful, you can't focus on anything. No matter how hard you try, the environment is eating you alive. It's got you in a swirl. You're in a swirl. You ever been put on a merry-go-round as a kid and spun? How are you going to look straight? How are you going to straighten out? You're in a swirl, and the harder you try is the harder that you're subject to the swirl. You can never get out of the swirl unless you take a breath. It wasn't deep enough. It wasn't deep enough because it's trying. It's letting go. And there you go. The power of letting go. I read an amazing book by David R. Hawkins. It's the ability to let go and detach is how you can open your wings and fly amongst. It's the craziest thing, because there's these microfibers, these strings of ego that will hold on. They will hold on, and it's like peeling somebody away from a cliff that they're hanging onto, because you feel like you're hanging from a cliff and your feet are dangling and you're at the edge of your death in your consciousness. It's terrifying. And imagine if someone's down below pulling your feet and you're like, ah! Screaming. That's what happens to people when you shine the light on their ego. You shine the light of consciousness, or the light of truth, or the light of love. All right? Think about unconditional love, the greatest power in existence, next to peace, next to truth, next to authority, spiritual authority. It's so deep and it's so real that it's freeing and it's unlimited, and it cuts like a knife. See what I'm saying? It is the antithesis of ego. It is the antithesis of... See, when I'm talking, it might sound like I'm talking in riddles, right? Because if you try to describe it in a way that is tangible, you negate it, because it is intangible. It is inseparable. It is omnipresent. It is one, and it is what? It's not a what, it is the isness. And this is the shit that won't let me sleep at night. I've been paying attention to the patterns and cycles and habits of other people. And I want to tell you something. Through the state of ever-present moment awareness, as many times as you can hit it in a day, you can begin to realize sometimes that you're fucking crazy. You're suffering from insanity. And it's torture. And when you are stuck in the ego, which is a demon or an entity or sickness of the mind, it is gripped inside of you like the Matrix. And to even let go of it feels like you're hanging from a cliff. To let go is to contract. But to truly fly is to let go of the ego. The power of unconditional love can heal a drug addict in a split second. The power of unconditional love can heal an alcoholic. And the power of unconditional love and faith can move mountains. I never really understood faith. There's a quote in the Bible that says, the faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain. I think it was, don't quote me on this, I think it was Christ who said that. With the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. And I never understood what that mean, man. A mustard seed, the faith of a mustard seed, man. True, undiluted faith. So powerful that it can move mountains. And you can't wrap your head around that until you actually see it happen in your life. I think faith is the bridging power that allows you to fly and cross the Rubicon from point A to point B. That's what faith is. Because it is the intangible, it is the ability to spiritually transport yourself to a place that you have not yet been in the physical, right? That you have not yet been in the physical. And to put yourself there, like quantumly, and now that is all that is left behind is the flesh, and the flesh must let go by unletting and unclinging itself from the cliff that it's clinging onto, because it is afraid of death, and it is the antithesis of truth, and it needs to let go, and it needs not to let go, because it's caught up in neediness. And once you identify it as an it, and not as you, or not as me, and you realize it for what it is, and you hold it in the palm of your hand, and you objectify it, then you can detach yourself from the suffering that you live, but you cannot identify, but is torturing you on a daily basis, and you can finally become free. And fly. Really fly. I could cry right now. You know I could cry? I was in the grocery store earlier, shopping, looking at spices and shit. I don't know, I like spices, I like to cook. For some reason when I cook it, like, I get a sense of peace. And I saw a couple in there, and I could feel, by being in their presence when they walked past me, that something felt dirty. And not that they were bad people, I could just feel that they were, man, a codependent, weak, needy, sexual relationship that wasn't based in truth. It was based in, like, a sickness of the ego. And I'm not talking like any weird, like, perverted stuff. I could just feel that they weren't genuinely in love with each other, and that you could feel this attraction and detraction. But anyways, he was like showing her like a spice or something that they should get, and she goes, yuck, next, or I don't know, whatever she said to him, but whatever it was so degrading to this man that he put his head down like a puppy dog, and he followed her around the aisles like a little fucking bitch boy. And the craziest thing was, it hurt my heart to see those two people suffering, and they're supposed to love each other, and they couldn't even shop in the grocery store because they were going through hell, that they were conjuring and co-creating, and neither of them were willing to admit it. And I could see all this in 1 second. I'm just trying to buy some freaking garlic seasoning, and I could see into this. And the craziest freaking thing was, in a little piece of that, I could feel an area of myself, maybe in a past part of my life. Or can you feel part of yourself in the past part of your life? Like, you can see when you were weak, you can see when you were down, you can see when you're driving and you see someone waiting at a bus stop, a poor person, and you think in your head, maybe you think something wrong or prejudice, maybe you think, oh, the bum, that guy, how did that guy end up like that? Because really you're terrified inside that maybe one day that could be you, right? I seriously think prejudice is bullshit. I grew up around a bunch of prejudiced people. And I don't think that they really knew what they were saying. But something didn't feel right? And I was curious as a kid, and I started looking around, and I was like, starting a business changed my life, dude, because like, I might make jokes in my videos about foreign people, go, you give me your best deal, right? Dude, I love foreign people, dude. I love Indian people. When I go like in an Indian person's home and I feel their culture and I look in their eyes, I'm like, these people freaking rock, dude. I love Chinese people, dude. They're so unique and different. I love how they all like keep to themselves. I love black people because I love their soul. I love how you can walk up, and I'm not, subjugating anybody. Like, most of the black people I met in my life, I could walk up to them and look in their eyes and speak from my heart. And they speak from their heart and look in my eyes, and I'm having a real fucking conversation with somebody, right? And isn't it funny, like, Arabic people, there's one. I love Arabic people, dude. Fucking tabbouleh and hummus, man. I love tabbouleh and hummus. I love people. I love all people. We're all the same. We're all legitimately the same, dude. I love aliens too, man. I wish they would just take my ass away. I don't know about all that. That's fucking crazy. I'm open-minded, man. And there's this power. I'm gonna try to talk about myself. But do you feel this moral compass that pulls on you? That says, be good, be a good man. Like, it feels good to be a good person. And it feels good to not have to monitor what you say and think, because you're pulled towards good. And anything that pulls you towards bad, get the fucking scissors out and cut it out of your life. You don't need it because it's pulling you down. And it's not it is them. It's the people maybe that you love, right? I like Evan Pagan, a very successful guy. Went from living in a trailer park to being a multimillionaire. He says, if anybody or anything interferes with my purpose, and my purpose is one thing, evolution. If anybody interferes with my evolution, they must go. Period. Think about that. If your evolution is to evolve, all places move to true north. Everything evolves to the light eventually. So you can take a long ass painful route and swerve and tumble and go through all this bullshit and drag a bunch of people with you. Or you can surrender and fly and move to true north. And as soon as you do it, you're gonna feel what I call the proverbial pulling the shit string, and the elephant shit's gonna go all over you. Because your life doesn't fall apart until you finally let go of ego, because you realize you've been holding up a house of cards. You realize you've been holding up a lie. You realize you've been living in deceit and self-deceit. And self-deceit is genius. It has a mind of its own. Why? Because it covers its own tracks. You can't see it. That's why it's deceit. But you feel something's wrong. You feel you're living a lie. You feel that maybe you haven't been true to yourself. So inside, you're begging for a change, right? Whatever that is. And all I want to ask you is, whatever it is for you, surrender and just lean into that direction. You don't have to make a change overnight. Just lean into that direction. Lean into it. Lean into it. And just kind of expand the top as you dissolve the bottom. Or here's another thing. Imagine a boat. This is a long ad video and it's freezing out here. Imagine a boat is programmed to go like south. And you grab the wheel and you pull. You're pulling on the boat and you turn it around in the water, in the lake, in the ocean, whatever, and you get it going north, and you're holding onto that wheel. It's going north. It's so hard to do, and you finally give up and you let go. And what does the boat do? It turns and goes south again, because it's pre-programmed to go south. How do you turn it around when it's programmed so deeply to go north? That's the thing that drives me nuts, man. And it's deep internal programming. It's layers upon layers of layers, like a jawbreaker, deeply embedded in your psychology, your psycho-emotions. It's embedded in this ego, because your heart says something different. Start listening to your heart. I don't hate, that's a bad word. When I start to say something in a video where I feel like maybe I'm telling you what to do, I don't want to be that way at all. Us. Let's talk about us. I don't know why I feel so called to make these videos, but I really do. Because I know that you watching right now, you're like, this guy's crazy. Alright, man. I'm going back in the house. I'm going to sleep. And you? You be well. Alright, good night. Peace.